please click on the red subscribe button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Then click on the bell icon for notifications.
In this video, we are going to be looking at a historical event that took place in Owerri in the late 90s and early 2000s when Otokoto, a deadly ritualist, was apprehended and executed in Owerri, Imo State. And this man was one of the evil men that gave bad name to the Igbos, which made people from other tribes in Nigeria to think that every rich Igbo man is a ritualist. So we are going to look deep into the biography, history and documentary of Otokoto and how he was apprehended and executed in Owerri, the Imo State capital. If you are an Igbo man born before the millennium, you will definitely know about the untold story of Chief Vincent Duru alias Otokoto, who was infamous for ritual killings. His son Obidiozo Duru then was the kingpin of the notorious Black Secret Cult that was responsible for sporadic robberies and abduction of children within Owerri Axis in Imo State. In fact, following rumors of the nefarious activities of the Otokoto family, Owerri residents subjected the Otokotos under the radar and surveillance. It is said there's no smoke without fire. Also, when the wind blows, the roof of the fowl is exposed. On the 19th of September 1996, Otokoto was incriminated. His dirty linens were washed outside. His exotic hotels, Otokoto hotels, were razed down. He was incarcerated and later executed 20 years after indictment. Who implicated him? It all happened in the capital city of Owerri, Imo State, on the 19th of September 1996, when an 11-year-old innocent boy named Anthony Ikechukwu Okoronkwo was murdered for ritual. The young boy was a groundnut hawker who frequented the street of Owerri to sell his groundnut. On that fateful day, he was walking past Otokoto Hotel when a man identified as innocent Ike Anyanwu at Otokoto Hotel, age 32, beckoned on him to come. Unsuspectedly, the young lad excitedly went into the hotel to sell his groundnut and was treated like a guest. He was given a bottle of chilled coke, which he shook down with relish. Sadly, the drink was spiked and soon the poor boy slipped into an everlasting unconsciousness. Innocent Eke Anyanwu then carried the limp body of Anthony Ikechukwu into one of the hotel rooms, and what follows after is what both the gods and human beings forbid. He decapitated the boy's head, ripped open his abdomen, harvested his liver, and cropped off his spinal tube. He selected other organs he needed and stacked them together in a polythene bag and buried his remains in a shallow grave near the hotel. How do people get to know? After burying the ill-fated lad, he immediately left the hotel to deliver the head to a big cat named Chief Leonard Onaogo at Eziama Ikeduru near Owerri. Blood was still oozing from the bag where he alighted, which stirred the suspicion of the Okada man, identified as Mr. Hilary Ngozi Opala. Innocent Eke Anyanwu could not deposit the head as Chief Onaogo had already left the town for Lagos. Remember, the year was 1996 and there were no mobile phones then. He had to go back to Owerri with the head. The bike man quickly tipped the policeman and they intercepted Eke Anyanwu on his way back to Owerri in a Peugeot 504. Hell was let loose when the news spread. The media even fueled it as they beamed live innocent Eke Anyanwu carrying the fresh head of little Anthony Ikechukwu. The people of Owerri went berserk when they beheld the agony sight. They all trooped out in their numbers to Otokoto Hotel for protest. The hotel buildings were razed down completely. They equally marched to the palatial mansion of Otokoto nearby and destroyed its expensive cars and expensive properties. The unstoppable protesters equally went round, destroying other properties linked to Otokoto, even those of his friends. During further investigation, Mr. Innocent Eke Anyanwu, who was later identified as a gardener in Otokoto Hotel, was remanded in prison. Surprisingly, he died 4 days later from food poisoning. Luckily, before he croaked, he was able to confess. He implicated Chief Unago as the mastermind behind the brutal killings of Anthony Ikechukwu. In fact, they ran a killing syndicate which specialized in kidnapping and harvesting of human organs for rituals. According to him, Chief Unago had directed him to get a human head. He further confessed that Otokoto and his gang had been in the business as far back as 1970s. The guests at his hotels were not spared too. They were drugged or attacked in the middle of their sleep, after which they were dismembered and their organs plugged. The police swung quickly into action and discovered tens of shallow graves in Otokoto Hotel. More than 24 decomposing and dismembered bodies of human beings were exhumed. Chief Unago was immediately arrested, but he blatantly denied knowing Innocent Eke Anyanwu. At that time, Chief Unago has power and influence. He was the younger brother of Las Unago, a then serving minister under General Sani Abacha. Trial properly commenced on the 9th of December 1996 with the Okada man Ngozi Hilary Opara as the first prosecution witness. Other witnesses came up, which include Ambrose Ona, a police sergeant who recorded the confessional statement of Innocent Eke Anyanwu before he was mysteriously killed; Margaret Asholono, a receptionist in the hotel, who confessed that Chief Vincent Duru aka Otokoto was actually in the hotel the day Paul Anthony Ikechukwu was beheaded. Another police sergeant, Sunday Onwuchakwa, told the court that Innocent Eke Anyanwu had lied about the crime scene. According to Sunday Onwuchakwa, Innocent Eke Anyanwu had told him he executed Paul Ikechukwu and dumped his dead body inside Mba River near Owerri just to mark the actual crime scene. The police were deceived at first with the first trial before information reached them about the commotion at Otokoto Hotel. It was even reported that Chief Vincent Duru aka Otokoto had shouted at Innocent Eke Anyanwu during the course of the investigation before he was murdered. Otokoto screamed at him in Igbo, "Imebolam," meaning "you have implicated me." The sorrowful murder of the poor lad, Latisha Okoronkwo, Suleiman Idris Ibe, and the police officer who recorded the event were on seat when Hilary Opara, the Okada man, came to testify against him. Another police photographer and Ralph Nwaiwu, the doctor that performed autopsy on Paul Anthony Ikechukwu, also testified against him in court. The case snailed on without progress for 3 solid years, as there were series of adjournments, absence of presiding judge and lawyers, even to the transfer and retirement of judges. There were reports about the preferential treatment given to Chief Unago because he was the minister's brother. The case was stalled until Justice Shoma Nwosu Iheme, a powerful and fearless judge, took over the case on 28 April 1999. He sentenced the 7 suspects linked to the murder of Anthony Ikechukwu to death. Their names were Vincent Duru aka Otokoto, Adban Ajebu, Samson Nnamito, Ebenezer Egweke, Lawrence Ebu, Rufus Anyanwu, and Chief Leonard Onaogo. In fact, while delivering her judgment, Justice Nwosu Iheme referred Otokoto and Onago as hardened and unrepentant murderers and highly sophisticated criminals. She said that the blood of Paul Anthony Ikechukwu must be very strong and a powerful one that screamed to God in high heavens for vengeance. After an epic judgment, all the convicts were taken to Port Harcourt prison in February 2003 pending their execution. Their lawyers kept on appealing their judgment, which were futile as the sentence of execution was still upheld. Finally, 20 years after the inglorious saga, Otokoto was hanged. His execution took place on Sunday, November 13, 2016. Chief Onago, on his part, died in Port Harcourt prison in very mysterious circumstance. Otokoto was later described by the media as the most heartless ritualist in history. Otokoto was a ritualist for more than 30 years. He has killed thousands of people in Owerri Aziz until the blood of Paul Anthony Ikechukwu cried for vengeance, and that was how he was apprehended and executed. He was first brought to court and his trial went on for more than 3 years, after which he was sentenced to death. He was reprimanded in prison in Port Harcourt. He stayed in prison for 20 years, and after 20 years in prison, he was executed by hanging. He gave Igbos a bad name and made Nigerians from other tribes to see Igbos as ritualists. Otokoto was, however, regarded as the worst ritualist in human history.